The night was colder than usual. Yu Menglong stood under the dim airport lights, his suitcase beside him, the world moving around him, yet somehow time stood still. His phone buzzed in his pocket, but he didn't move. His eyes were locked on one name that had been haunting his heart for months: Xing Fei. He had promised himself he wouldn't call her again. He had promised to move on, but when you love someone that deeply, promises are the easiest things to break. So when her name flashed across his screen one last time, he couldn't stop his fingers from trembling as he picked up Menglong. Her voice came softly, hesitant, fragile. "Are you really leaving tonight?" There was silence, just the faint hum of the airport intercom, and the sound of his heartbeat. "Yes," he finally whispered. "I have to." She didn't reply. The silence between them said more than words ever could. It wasn't anger, it wasn't blame, it was heartbreak, quiet, suffocating heartbreak. The world had seen their chemistry. The fans had called them the perfect pair, but behind the smiles, behind the flawless performances, there were battles no one saw, the kind that tear two souls apart no matter how much they love each other. It all began months earlier during the filming of their last project together. Every scene, every glance, every accidental touch felt heavier than usual, as if they both knew something was ending. Xing Fei would laugh between takes, trying to mask the ache she felt inside, while Yu Menglong would quietly turn away, pretending to fix his script. The air between them was charged not with excitement, but with the weight of goodbye. There had been whispers among the crew of late-night arguments, of tears behind closed doors, but no one dared ask. Everyone could see it. The love that once lit up every scene now carried shadows. One evening after filming, they stayed behind on set long after everyone left. The lights were dim, the wind rustled through the open window. Xing Fei stood by the door, arms folded, while Yu Menglong stared at the floor, his expression unreadable. "You're avoiding me again," she said softly. "No," he replied, barely meeting her gaze. "I'm just trying to do what's right." "Right," she repeated, her voice cracking. "Since when did love become something we had to calculate?" He didn't answer, because deep down he knew their love was real, but their world wouldn't let it survive. Their relationship had been the industry's worst kept secret from the moment they first worked together. Fans had flooded social media with clips of their laughter, their stolen glances, and their undeniable chemistry. But fame is never gentle. The pressure grew every time they tried to meet in private. Paparazzi followed every move, was dissected. Online rumors of jealousy, secret engagements, and breakups became their everyday reality. And then came the final blow, a scandal that neither of them caused, but both of them suffered for. An innocent dinner photo taken out of context turned into headlines claiming betrayal. To protect her, Yu Menglong took the blame. He stayed silent as tabloids twisted the story. He let the world think he had moved on, even when every fiber of his being screamed her name. "If my silence keeps her safe," he told a friend, "then I'll stay quiet forever." But the cost of that silence was heavy. He began losing sleep, missing events, distancing himself from everyone, even her. Xing Fei, hurt and confused, finally stopped trying to reach out. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, until one day he booked a one-way flight to leave everything behind, including her. When she called that night, he almost didn't answer, but fate had other plans. By the time he reached the departure gate, he saw her standing there, breathless, eyes red from crying. She had come. He froze. She ran straight into his arms. No words, no hesitation, just raw emotion. "Why didn't you tell me you were leaving?" she cried. "Were you really going to disappear without saying goodbye?" "If I told you," he said softly, "you would have tried to stop me." "Of course I would," she snapped, pulling away. "Because I still..." She stopped, her voice broke before she could finish. He reached for her hand, but she stepped back, tears rolling down her cheeks. "Menglong, if you walk away now, I'll never forgive you." He smiled sadly. "Then hate me," he whispered, "if it makes it easier." The announcement for his flight echoed through the terminal. Passengers began to board. He looked at her one last time, the woman who had been his light through every storm, and whispered, "Thank you for everything." She tried to speak, but her voice failed her. The pain was too deep. He picked up his suitcase and walked away, every step feeling like a lifetime. She stood frozen, watching him disappear through the gates. And when the doors finally closed behind him, the tears she had been holding back fell uncontrollably. Weeks later, a small envelope arrived at Xing Fei's home. No name, no return address, just her name written in his handwriting. Inside was a simple letter, the kind that shatters hearts quietly. "Fei, if you're reading This it means I didn't have the strength to say everything in person. I left not because I stopped loving you, but because loving you was the only thing that was destroying you. You deserve peace, the kind that the world never gave us. I'll always carry you with me, even if I never see you again. Don't wait for me, but don't forget me either." Her hands trembled as she read it. The ink was smudged, maybe from his tears, maybe from his hesitation. She pressed the letter to her chest, sobbing silently. That night she posted a photo on her social media, just a picture of the night sky with a caption, "Some goodbyes don't end with words, they end with silence." Fans flooded the comments, sensing the heartbreak behind her words. Within hours, #Yu Menglong #Xing Fei goodbye trended across Asia. Months passed, both stars threw themselves into work, but neither smiled the same. Yu Menglong was seen traveling abroad for projects, his eyes tired, his interviews distant. Xing Fei continued filming, her laughter softer than before, her eyes occasionally glistening with unspoken memories. Then destiny intervened once more at an award ceremony 6 months later. The two were nominated in the same category, Best On-Screen Couple. The crowd erupted when they walked on stage together. For the first time in months they stood side by side again. Their eyes met. 1,000 emotions flashed between them. The host smiled awkwardly. "You two haven't worked together in a while. Any chance we'll see you again soon?" Yu Menglong turned to Xing Fei. Their eyes locked, and for a moment it felt like time itself was holding its breath. "Maybe one day," he said softly, "if fate allows." The audience screamed, fans cried, and in that single glance they said everything words couldn't. After the event, photos of them together broke the internet again. But this time no one spread rumors, no one accused them of deceit. Instead, fans flooded social media with messages of support and love. You can see it in their eyes that love never died. Sometimes goodbye doesn't mean the end, it means waiting for the right time. Even years later, when asked about each other in interviews, they both smiled faintly. "She was my best co-star," Yu Menglong said once. "He'll always be special," Xing Fei replied in another. And perhaps that's the beauty of their story, not in how it ended, but in how deeply it lived in the hearts of everyone who believed in them. If this story touched your heart, make sure to subscribe to our channel, Drama Haven Hub, for more emotional celebrity love stories, shocking confessions, and unforgettable drama moments. Hit that like, turn on the notification bell, and share this video so more fans can relive the heartbreaking beauty of Yu Menglong and Xing Fei's final goodbye. #Yu Menglong #Xing Fei #drama love story #celebrity confession #drama haven hub #drama emotions #heartbreaking goodbye #Asian drama #love and loss #K-drama haven hub.